Everyone, we want you to know we were happy to get together because we wanted to do this with you today. Julia, you were going to say something, please.
Yeah, I mean, you're perfectly fine with your frog voice, and I have a full day behind me.
Oh
So,
man, yeah, ending your day. Hey, some points that we're going to cover here on how to escape this cycle of toxic generational trauma. There are a lot of subcategories that come with this subject that we're going to be bringing to you as an audience. We're going to be setting some things in front of you. Pick them a la carte, which may be to your benefit. And let's get to it. Julia, some points you have in mind on this subject of trauma.
yeah, I mean, trauma itself, I'm using that word less and less, although it's even in my website, trauma in a nutshell. It's even in my website, but trauma itself is a word that I feel people already get a little, woo,
Yeah.
oh, such a big thing. It sounds so dramatic. And yeah, I mean, one part that we will address today is intergenerational trauma. And that is trauma that has been handed down from one generation to the next. This is no spooky thing, although it might sound like that. But this is science-based these days. There's enough evidence. There has been enough research being done by fantastic colleagues. And we understand that trauma is handed down from one generation to the other. And that might be, not only from our parents, that might be from our grandparents, that might be from our great-grandparents. Basically, we have no idea what we carry in our nervous system. And that's one point we will certainly address today.
Yeah. Now, our nervous system is deeply affected by the trauma, if I understand correctly. So we need to understand how they all are connected, how our nervous system is affected.
Well, the nervous system is wired depending on the circumstances and the imprints we were given.
Got it.
So, I dive right into it. Just try to follow me through that. When our mothers were in the womb, were a fetus, a baby in the womb of their mothers, which is our grandmothers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All the little egg cells were there already. Okay, so the egg cells, and we developed of one of these egg cells, right, in the ovaries of our mothers, were there already when our mothers were a fetus, a baby, still in their mom's belly. So, and that's when the nervous system of our mothers developed at rapid speed, given the imprints and what their mothers had lived through at that time. So in Germany, for example, that was war. That was World War II, right? Second World War. So all that, what my grandmother experienced, was directly imprinted into my mother's nervous system. There's no other way, because she was in the belly. She experienced what her mom experienced. And the egg cells, and from one of the egg cells I developed, like 30-something years later, were there also. So it's wired into her egg cells. The experience of my grandmother, it's far out. It's far out. So it's when we say it's in our nervous system these days, everyone speaks about, it's the nervous system. No one has an exact clue what that is really, but it's like our core wiring. This really is
passed on.
It's passed on. Like a chassis of a car,
Okay, got it. I see it, right. And everything is built, all the other experiences are built upon that particular chassis of that particular car.
Exactly. So we really, I would like you all to understand this is our core wiring we are dealing with. And that's also why it's so difficult to become aware of, because that's our normal. I mean, we have never had an experience B to compare it with. That's just the wiring we look through. That's the car we drive. And then we can paint it blue, but it's still the same car. and we can change the motor, but it's still the engine, it's still the same car, it's still the same chassis. So it's to break a cycle of intergenerational trauma is interest, a lot of inner work, is grace also. And most of us have to go through tremendous pain, through tremendous loss, through trauma. Here it comes again, to become aware of that layer in ourselves.
And that layer, sometimes maybe a person can begin to believe that they're the problem. They don't recognize that this is something that may have started before they were ever born.
Of course. Absolutely. This is something we become aware of only pretty recently, really.
Yeah. And I mean, not just when you're an adult, but just recently as here on the planet, people are starting to recognize it.
Exactly. Here on a planet, as a society, we are not even there yet. It's not yet common knowledge. There's enough people you speak to about intergenerational trauma, and they go like, what are you talking about? This is spooky stuff, But that's really what is happening. We are given a wiring that is far deeper than our childhood experience. So, as you said, what we experience in the belly of our moms is the first layer.
You just blew my. Go ahead.
And then our early childhood experience, which the psychologist thought was all early childhood experience, that is the next layer, and it goes up, bum. But we never get to see. It's piled on top, but we never get to see, the chassis. Yeah, it's far out.
Susie from Susie TV, SZTV network. She has her own network. Also visits us here and does podcast show on. She is saying it's exhausting, as it were, but so worth it. It's so layered. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
man,
it's so worth it. And there's a generation to come. Many of us have kids. So if we don't break the cycle, they will have to break the cycle. So for me, that is a big motivation also to get my stuff together, right?
I see what you're saying. Not just you, but others. If we really want to be responsible to the next generation, to the grandchildren, to others, even if we don't have children, if we want to be responsible, we really need to not necessarily get so comfortable pointing the finger out at a narcissist, toxic person, whatever the case may be, diagnosed or undiagnosed. We're much better off doing the recovery work on ourselves.
Absolutely.
And becoming more firm, strong, and grounded.
As long as I love what you said, Paxton, as long as we point the finger out and run around the world diagnosing people, we are really not looking inside, and we are not contributing our share of awareness regarding our own wiring. Because really, we all can contribute to the level of consciousness that's out there, but not by looking at other people. We will have to look inside and go like, oh, holy crap, I had no idea I was doing this.
We go like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me see what I'm contributing to in this aspect and start pulling that back and putting forth the other, no matter what the other person does. That doesn't mean, as you touched on there, and we've talked before, it doesn't mean we're not aware and we don't start to recognize the landmines and potholes that can be presented to us from someone else's lifestyle or decisions or personality traits. But and this is why we wanted you on our platform, and why we had from day one when we were on Instagram wanted to have you, is because the viewpoint you just laid out is not something that's always welcomed, because it's so much easier to point fingers. But what you're talking about is at least working on our own intergenerational issues. And that can be very challenging.
Very challenging. I would say it's not a journey for the faint-hearted. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And then when life pushes you there, as I said, it usually comes with loss, with divorce, with trauma, with some sort of abuse. I mean, it comes with heavy stuff. You know, you don't have much of a chance. When life pushes you there, it pushes you there, and there you go. And what I like about understanding intergenerational trauma more, as we start to do, is that it takes away that layer of blame, shame, and guilt. You know, because you said pointing fingers is more popular, of course, because it's always someone else's fault. And if they changed, I mean, everything would be fine. If they only changed, I mean, I tried my best, but they don't. I don't know what else to do. You know, that kind of rap.
Yeah.
But it's not so popular to look inside. Also, what I found, if we are not really careful in communicating and laying that out, is it can be misunderstood. And I honestly misunderstood it so long in my own journey. I am wrong. That's what I heard. I am doing it wrong. If I only changed, things were different. So I heard guilt and I heard blame, you know, and it's not about blame and it's not about guilt. If you could do different, you did different. That's as clear, you know, you're not going to harm yourself.
No, right. Yeah, that's true.
But that took me such a long time to understand. But having a broader view and seeing, hey, there might be intergenerational trauma at play. You know, that makes it easier for people to understand, hang on, but that must mean that I'm not guilty. Because when guilt comes in, it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. I don't know if that is more or less clear.
No, that was very clear. Now, most people try to avoid the guilt, correct?
Yeah.
And that keeps them from, well, doing the digging and the uprooting, or at least the examining and becoming more aware of self, instead of just becoming aware that someone else did something to the self.
I mean, it's very easy to understand, basically. If I blame you, hey, Paxton, you're such an unconscious person, please. I mean, don't you see that's so basic.
Yeah.
You immediately feel attacked. And it's not exactly, you don't perceive it as an invitation to have a look inside and go
to
like,
discuss
hey,
or be vulnerable. It's not an invitation to be vulnerable. It's an invitation to put the walls up.
Absolutely. And that's just like a normal reaction. I mean, I would react like that. I would go, hang on a second. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
But if we have a different conversation, go like, hey, wow, what am I contributing to this mess? That doesn't mean that the other person does not contribute. It just means, for now, I'm not concerned with the other person. I let that person be who he or she is. Just let them be for a second. Let them be a narcissist, a borderline personality, a perfectionist, just a terrible person. Just let them be whatever they are. They are adults. They can take care of themselves. The only thing that we do have some sort of power over is like our own, how we show up, right? So we can go like, okay, hang on, what am I contributing to this? And then we can be curious. But as soon as blame, shame, and guilt kicks in, and Brené Brown, I mean, she does such excellent work on that. As soon as blame, shame, and guilt kicks in, there is no openness to explore that. As you said, it's an invitation to put the walls up, really.
It's almost going to a whole nother level of being mature. It's an interesting dynamic to look at, human behavior wise, is because we're now talking about going beyond just knowing that somebody did something wrong to us. We're literally looking at our areas, so that our personal areas, so that it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. I love that you said that, Paxton. That's so fundamental. As long as I'm stuck in complaining, and boy, I was stuck in complaining. So believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but as long as I'm stuck in complaining, there's no energy and no focus to look what am I contributing? How am I'm so busy with the other person, and it will happen again because that other person is a very reliable person.
Very reliable to be narcissistic, toxic, whatever
to
label
be
that
who
we can
they
come
are.
up with. Yeah,
Exactly. They
they
are who they are today, tomorrow, and the day after, as long as they have done some work. But usually these people are not so terribly interested in doing inner work. So they are pretty predictable and also reliable in what they do. And as long as I'm stuck in complaining, all I do is complaining. All I do is complaining, but I'm not contributing change. I'm not contributing. There's no curiosity. There's a lot of outrageousness, and it is outrageous what they often do. I mean, there's examples that no one can. If they were in a movie, you would go, boy, what a bad movie. Yeah, but it is outrageous behavior. But to step back and go like, let them be who they are. Let that person be who he or she is. Just let him be. And then go like, okay. And then is there a curiosity? How come?
Go ahead,
Go
please.
ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that curiosity. How come that is happening to me? How come this is showing up in my life? Just curiosity.
It's almost as if we go down that road, we're really taking our power back, but it could almost seem as if we're giving a green light to the behavior, but in actuality, we're not. So many can become consumed with making sure everyone sees them as innocent, but in reality, we can really get consumed to make sure this never happens again.
Yeah. Yeah. And from a broader perspective, we are innocent. And I'm going to say something which is not going to be very popular. So let's see what happens.
Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure so everybody can find this part of the show again. Here we go, everybody. Just here we go. Just look for this sound element so you can find it to get mad at Julia for what she said. Hold on 1 second. Okay, that we want to give them a reason to never listen to the show again. But go ahead.
Okay,
Tell them the truth at least. Hit them with the hard truth. Just go ahead. There's a lot of people making money off of people being mad at a narcissist. And
absolutely.
Sometimes people don't recognize that they need to keep everyone angry, because once you get past that anger, there's an upside. But there's a lot of people making a lot of money off of everybody staying angry. Please, everyone, give thought to that. This channel is not that kind of a channel.
No,
this
we
is
do
about
not.
self-discovery,
Exactly.
self-awareness, but more importantly, doing the emotional excavation work you need to do so it'll never, ever, ever happen to you again. Go ahead. Absolutely. You were going to say, my friend.
Well said. We do not want to contribute to the anger and to the desperation and to the drama.
keeping it going, making some money off people being mad, and just, don't you hate the way they are, and just hate, and you know what? Let's just calm this puppy down. If it was a kid that was going through that with a bully, eventually we want them to move away from the bully and go on with their life. Exactly. Some people out there nowadays in this mental health field, all they want to do is keep you pent up on anger so they can make money off of you. Absolutely. Ruminating on the same garbage over and over.
Yeah. And what I want
enough
you...
of me on my soapbox. Now, Jojo woke up cranky.
What I want you all is to find peace.
Yes.
Is to find peace even after all that you have endured and lived through. So here comes the unpopular truth. From a wider perspective, we are innocent. That's where we stopped, right? And from a wider perspective, that toxic person is innocent as well. Okay, that's something to chew on. But if we look at it, if we manage to step back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps and look at it as if we were looking through a movie camera, and as if we saw it like a movie, like a Hollywood movie, we could see that also that narcissistic, that borderline, that toxic person has intergenerational trauma going on that they are not yet aware of, and that they didn't manage and didn't have the skills to solve yet or come to peace with. So that does not mean that we are going to excuse outrageous and hurtful behavior.
Bingo. Absolutely.
So these are two entirely different things. We are entirely innocent because, as I said earlier, if we knew better, we did better and differently, and we'd be out of there in no time.
Running to the hills, getting away from that toxic person, right?
Yeah.
Or within the family, that intergenerational trauma. We would be running we'd be out of there. But we didn't know better. We thought that was considered family. We thought that was just like some people think, well, this is a relationship. He's supposed to treat me this way. No, he's not. That's abuse. No. Get out of there.
No. Remember when you just said we would run up the hills when there was the tsunami in India and in Sri Lanka, like back, I don't know, I think 10, no more than that, 20 years maybe it's like now. The elephants, they felt the tsunami coming and the elephants ran up the hills.
Wow.
So that's a natural response. I get goosebumps when I say that. There's danger coming at us, danger that we know we cannot fight. And the natural response that all mammals embody is to flee, to run away. So that is what we need. That is the state of nervous system we need to come back to, a more regulated state in our own nervous system. So what we did up until now was, oh, there's danger. He or she is treating me really badly. They are emotional abusive. We all know that. They're often physically abusive. They're manipulative. They withhold finances, information, and the whole shebang. But that natural response of fleeing didn't kick in. It didn't kick in, although we saw and we experienced the danger. Okay, and that quite likely is intergenerational trauma.
So the intergenerational trauma is kicking in because it seems familiar, and so we stay.
Familiar, and so we stay, and that's what we know. I mean, almost all clients I have worked with, almost, not 100%, but I would maybe say 90%, have had one caretaker that was abusive in one way or the other. So that's familiar. That's what we know. It's just normal. That's how we treat people.
It's just another thing for me to forgive about them, that abuse. A person can start to believe and think, so they stay thinking it's going to get better, or we're family. Instead of addressing the abuse, as it were, confronting it that this is not acceptable for me. It's amazing that that's an unpopular concept.
It is.
But then for me, it's just me personally, I'm just a man with a mic, everybody. For me, I find it fascinating, human behavior-wise, because then there's this flip side of individuals who know this and all they want to do is make money off of people. So I find that fascinating. No, I really, you know how I am about that. It irks me, actually. It irritates me. It's just like, just tell people the truth. But no, there's a huge money component that's behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what you're discussing, many talk about throughout the internet and other places, and for generations have touched on it. But it's really becoming common now, where individuals are finding out that they really gotta roll up the sleeves and do some work when they look at their family history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just had someone called me today and shared the situation that person was in. And I said, to be honest upfront, this is work. This is a lot of inner work. There's grieving involved, grief for what we haven't received as a child, grief for what was not possible in our life, dreams that we have to give up, the parents we wished for and the parents we had. And I mean, there's so many contradicting emotions. There's anger, there's disappointment, there's like, it's a mess. And when I then hear, we will do some, excuse me, everyone, but I'm going to be, I'm German, I'm very straightforward.
Very, by the way. Go do your very.
Very. We'll do some energy work and we'll send you some light. And then that will do the trick. I go like, every and any support is welcomed. But I know to break an intergenerational trauma, that is really our core wiring, sending light will not do the trick. What I mean is...
You mean I can't package some light bulbs and just send you some? Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
I can't buy a bunch of lighters and just put them in a box and send them and say, hey, I sent you some light and now you're going to have a better day. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Holy cow. I mean, this is what really gets me going, Paxton, is like the amount of money that gets made by I can help you because I'm this kind of fantastic. And I'm not saying these things don't have an impact. As I said, any and every support is welcome. But to go to our core wiring, we need a skilled facilitator. We need a lot of dedication. And we need to have suffered a lot, most at least, that I see, have suffered so much that they go, I'm not going back. No matter what it costs me, I'm not going to go back. So it's not breaking intergenerational trauma, leaving a toxic relationship. By the way, guys, takes people up in average 7 times to leave until they leave for good. 7 times in average. So that says something about how difficult it is.
It's not just easily walking away, nor is it taking all the pain and dumping it on another person and walking away.
No.
You have to revisit the pain that we don't even know about.
Exactly. And again, you can do the pling pling again, another uncomfortable truth. Here we go.
Wait, hold on a second. Here we go, everybody. For those of you who don't know, here is the sound effect that you need to keep in mind when you rewind or watch this over. Okay, you got 2 of them in the show. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I almost forget what I was about to say. What were we talking about? At least,
you know what? This is because you forgot. Because you forgot what you were going to say. This is the perfect time, ladies and gentlemen, for us to have our camera on so you can see that she forgot what she had to say. So everybody get ready. She forgot what she had to say. So let's there we go. We're gonna do that. So there we go. So you can see her in a total forgetful moment. Here we go.
Exactly.
I don't know what we're saying. You guys rewind this back and listen to it and make up your own answer. Anyhow,
exactly. And make some suggestions in the comments so that we know what we were talking about.
No, hey, send it to her email. Yeah, no, hold on. That's what we're gonna do. Let me get back over here and I'm gonna grab this right here. Do this somewhere. Is that the email,
exactly.
Right? No, that's the website.
Send your answer, your uncomfortable truth to this email and let me know your uncomfortable
there you go.
truth.
Just, whatever your uncomfortable truth is, feel free to send it to Julia. You guys can chat. And, hey, you're feeling really inspired. I'll just bring you into the show with us and you can be on camera and talk to her. Or you can call into the show. We'll uncover it all in real time.
Absolutely. Okay, there's something in the chat. Let's see if someone's helping us.
He says, do you want to read that? Are you going to read that? Or can you see? It says one can be a target of a family's, what does that say? I'm hoping it says tragedies, loss and pain, even though you didn't know them or were responsible for them. Yeah. And you know what? It can be very heavy to carry the imperfections and the bad decisions of someone that lived before us or that is our caregiver. But the reality of it is that we can be affected by those things to the point that it affects us as adults. Julia, go ahead. You were going to say.
I would say we are affected. Just period. So now we are not going to make the sound because I will forget it again. There's this notion that we are free beings, but when we consider what we discussed earlier, freedom becomes relative in terms of decision making, in terms who I feel attracted to,
Yes.
in terms of what I'm willing to accept, in terms of what I consider normal, in terms of and my likes and my dislikes, and all my triggers. Yeah, I mean, you choose a trigger.
Yes.
You tell me how to choose a trigger. That's not going to happen. So
I get what you're saying. Yeah, right.
We are. Yeah. We really, the imprint in us of the experiences of those who lived before us is so profound that we are only starting to scratch the surface and become aware, oh, holy cow, there is an imprint. Yeah. So that's where we are.
We start shifting around and we find that imprint and going like, I thought it was just this person I just met or this relationship I'm in. And oh my goodness, grandpa did what? Grandma did what? And here we are revisiting, and it's like it's happened all over again.
It's happening all over again.
To the reality of a fact that there's nothing new under the sun. That the reality of it is somewhere in the heritage, this popped up and it moved itself along. As you said earlier, being that fetus in the womb, and before you know it, you're picking up the emotions of the one carrying you and all the pain that you know nothing about, but can be hardwired in.
Absolutely. So that shows that we at least need to go 2 generations back. We at least need to go to our grandparents.
I was going to say 3. We just keep pulling stuff up and going like, that explains why I do that. Okay.
Yeah. And then, but the good news is, as I said earlier, it doesn't matter to which degree we become aware of that underlying imprint that is there all the time, 24/7. That is our normal. That is the glasses we look through. But only the fact that we do become aware, something is remote controlling me here. It's really like a remote control. Only the fact that we do become aware changes everything. And changes everything for every and anyone who comes after us. And for anyone who is going to be in touch with us, because there's more consciousness, there's more awareness, there's a different conversation. Yeah. There, as we said earlier, it's not the he or she finger pointing. I might need to get that off my chest. Okay, then I get it off my chest. That's perfectly fine.
If you do, that's what NATV is for. Come get it off your chest, because now at least that's removed, and let's go dig deeper.
Exactly. Because when there's a lot of agitation, we also can't dig deeper. We need to be some sort of the place of calm to go like, okay, hang on, what's really going on? So I get that off my chest with my best friend or who I ever want to rant
wherever.
with.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And then I go like, okay, got that. I know it's outrageous behavior. We don't even need to discuss that because it's so obvious, we
can discuss that another day because we can discuss that. That's easy. That is actually easy to do.
Yeah, and it's so obvious.
It's so obvious, yeah.
And then we go like, okay, so what do I actually do to allow that?
That is when it becomes a sweaty proposition when you start digging, because it's like, okay.
But that's where the power lies.
And that's why it can be scary, though. Go ahead. You said, I apologize. You were going to say?
Yeah, I mean, when we become aware of that, wow, you know what? I never learned how to honor my own needs. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even realize I had needs. This is a conversation I'm having with, honestly, every single client.
I know you told me. That's mind-boggling to me. But I could see just us discussing this right now. And by the way, everyone, our shows are not scripted. If you don't know that and your first time passing through, this literally is a live chat.
You should have noticed by text and says one thing, I try to reply and they say a whole different thing.
I know. It is like, well,
excuse me for that.
This is kind of the way, if we're just talking with essentially no audience, but what you're discussing right now can really take a person for a spin around in their head, because they still may be at a certain stage of awareness and getting that basic information or some information. And they may be in a community of people where they're all like that.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm going to bring up somebody, Professor Sam Vaknin brought it up to me. He actually said it in the show when I interviewed him. He said, this is the dangerous time when people are in that spot, because then now if you start to say, hey, okay, so what work can you do? It's like, oh, stop there. That's victim blaming. Just hold on. And he's going
exactly.
Like, no, this, or they're stuck in a victim mindset. He mentioned both of those. Yeah. And hopefully he will come back. He said he wants to talk about both of those, because they get in the way of actual growth.
Absolutely. That's what we said about blame, shame, and guilt earlier. Yeah, but it's very well put. And I don't know if I'm right. I would say, without having given it too much thought, that these are stages. I see that. Yeah. So that
excuse me.
For some time we feel like victims, and then hopefully there comes a moment where we go like, I'm so fed up. There must be something I can do. There must be something I can contribute to the better.
To do this differently.
I'm not going to wait another century for them to change. I mean, they haven't changed the past 10 years. I'm not quite sure if it will happen ever.
They're going to do anything soon, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So it is a very delicate conversation we need to be having, because it's not about victim blaming or victim shaming. I fully acknowledge everything you out there have gone through. And the fact that you are here listening to this shows me that there is incredible strength, because you have survived whatever you went through and you are still here.
Absolutely.
So that is it. Again, I get goosebumps. That is in itself amazing. So now where I'm coming from is empowering. How can I be of service to empower you to make the next step, no matter where you are in your journey? Because as you said, someone might just become aware that, hey, I grew up with a narcissistic parent.
Yeah.
And they just get the first information. So how can I be of service? How can our conversations be of service for you to empower you?
Yeah.
Empower, give the power back to you.
And you don't speak just from a perspective of just coming from Spain, having nothing better to do to speak about it. This is a lived experience for you as well, to a measured degree. But the person and the individual themselves can begin to lose their dignity, thinking that someone took their dignity. But in actuality, when they examine their family history, they will find that, well, there's someone in there. Maybe they per se weren't chosen. Guy, everybody, male, female, I'm just a man with a mic. I'm just talking. There's a strong possibility that they weren't per se chosen. They just met someone with familiar behavior, and they didn't even know that that's in their lineage, that they had someone that was just as selfish. Yeah. And now they're married someone that's just as selfish.
Yeah. Usually when we come to that point, and for many people that is a little journey to come to that point, like a little journey in terms of therapy or consultation or coaching or inner work, we can see a pattern.
Wow.
We can see a pattern in the family, and we go like, wow. And I mean, there was not, what I hear often is there was no safe space for me to share my emotions, is something that comes up very regularly.
It's a common thing. That's kind of a common thing that someone
very common
say.
Thing.
No safe space for me to share my emotions. Wow.
So then we would choose someone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how our psyche works. It's not logic, because the logic would say, well, then you choose someone that you feel safe with, and
you just go the other. Be an elephant.
Exactly. Be an elephant, please.
Pick up the heavy feet and start running. But instead, you're saying the human behavior. Okay, that's funny. We should just do that.
We just remind
you should do that in a session with somebody. You know what? You just need to do this, and they'll go like, "What are you doing, Julia?" I'll go like, "No,
just become an
elephant." So we need everybody. You need to do. I can't even sound just weird. Yeah, you just need to do that. You just get some elephant ears. Just you're in a discussion with a narcissist. Just everybody buy elephant ears. Julia, let's go buy some stock in elephant ears. So we're just gonna start this whole thing. We're gonna be rich. You don't want to be rich. You be rich, everybody wants to take it from you. So stay poor. Nobody wants anything you got. What I was gonna say, but big elephant ears. Everybody's gonna have them, and they're gonna start writing you. Everybody send a picture into Julia. Send it to her email. Just
send the
pictures of you and elephant ears.
Send your elephant.
Email is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Just send it to Julia and say, "Thank you, Julia." Everybody put elephant ears in the chat. Just find them somewhere, or just elephants. She's going to be back on a regular basis. So just put a little elephants. And if you're on, we're going to start a little club. I'm just making this up as we go.
The elephant.
Forget me not club. And it's a little elephant. All right, everybody. We truly appreciate you being here today. We're going to be skedaddling out of here, everybody. We just giving you an overview of this particular subject that Julia will be breaking down on a regular basis here on NATV Network. Thank you very much.
Yeah, always fun to come back. I mean, every time, last time it was that mother-in-law that I'm going to be one day. And there's always something we shouldn't really not lose. And all of us,
I have notes of everything.
We should not lose our sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother show we could do, because you have some points that are good about that as well. It can be something, though, that we will give up or feel that it was taken from us. But what you shed light on today really helps us a lot to understand that when we dig more into our family history and look at matters, we can actually begin to make better choices in the future. We'll become more sensitive, to be an elephant and run instead of trying to fix something that, was never fixed maybe in our own generational lineage or in our own lineage.
Yeah.
It's just a lot there for me to unpack as a man with a mic, but I appreciate you so much. All right, everybody, we're getting out of here. I'm going to throw up something on the screen. It'll go for a little bit just to remind you to subscribe and all the other things that they say here on the old tube, the old YouTube. But make sure you come back. There's a lot of things coming your way that we're going to do, Julia and I, to make sure we give you quality content that may not make any sense to you, but just consider the possibility that there's some points in there that will help you hold on to your dignity. All right,
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. All right?
I also would like to encourage you all. Be free to reach out.
Yes.
I do my best to respond to everyone who sends me either an email or contacts me on my Instagram. Feel free to reach out. I know there's desperate places in this journey, and I want you to know that you're not alone.
Yes. Very important.
Thank
very
you for
important.
that.
I just want to do something real quick here. Oh, you got something in the chat on the way out. Thank you, Real Deal Prime. Thanks for your time. Good day. Appreciate it a great deal. We have an understanding. Appreciate you saying that.
Yes.
We're going to be put some more, we've got tons of things in mind for you under this particular subject. Feel free to share it with a friend. It costs you nothing to come here and enjoy it, so feel free to pass it on to others. I want to give, before I go, a warm hug and a congratulations to Susie with a Z podcast. She does her podcast here on our network, Susie TV. She just got her new place. And many of you know her story from her abuse and physical abuse and plastic surgery, a number of other things she had to do to get where she is now. She has not only her own podcast she started with us, from telling her story from scratch, but she also is she's growing her influence of encouraging others. She works with women's in shelters and lawyers and a number of other things. She is coming back, everybody, but she's been moving to her new place that fell out of the sky, as it were.
Congratulations.
We're so happy for her. Of course, many of you know her divorce finally became final and all that. She just let everything go, and now she's in a whole nother space. Literally, she's been moving. So you'll hear more about that. We haven't forgot the shows on Wednesdays. She is going to be back, and I'll tell you more about that. I just wanted to say that. So many of you, stop writing me. No, I'm just kidding. No, keep writing me. But I know everybody's thinking, would you kick her to the curb? No, she is upgrading literally in her life. And I just wanted everybody to know she's okay. She's just busy getting her life together for her new show. Julia, we got plenty of work to do sharing your information to others. Now, there is a waiting list many of you can get on for upcoming book that Julia will be doing. I just want to make sure I get over here and do this. Just give me a second here, everybody, in real time to move some things around. Please do me a favor. Please support Julia by going to her email. The email is scrolling at the bottom. The website is there, but try to get on a waiting list. Just say, hey, I want to get your new book when it comes out. Make sure you start emailing her so you can get some information and updates personally from her and what she's got going on. And if you need some encouragement, please don't suffer in silence. Please please don't do that. Right, Julia?
Yeah. Don't do that. Reach out, and I'm to my best capacities. I'll be there. And I want you to know that you're not alone. We've all been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that.
Thank
all right, Julia.
Thank you all for listening.
Is it bedtime? Is it bedtime yet for you?
For my daughter, it definitely is bedtime.
Yeah, tell your daughter she's a trooper. Thank you so much for everything. I will see you later. We'll talk soon. I'm going to stay here for a little bit and talk to everybody on the way out. If you happen to stick around, I'll tell you something. If not, I'll reach out to you later in our private chat with one another. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody. All right, my friends, we appreciate you taking out of your time to spend here on NATV Network. As you know, we don't chase numbers. This is not ego metrics or anything like that we're doing. But I do want you to know I truly appreciate all your support and everything that you've done to take out of your time to be with us. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and end the show. Well, let's see. What do I got here? Let's do this.